What if the salary your employer pays you is now the single biggest factor that decides whether you get an H-1B visa and ultimately your green card? That is exactly what is happening right now. The United States government has proposed a major overhaul of the H-1B lottery system. Under this new approach, instead of picking visa winners randomly, USCIS would prioritize applicants based on their offered wages. The higher your salary, the better your chances. This change could completely reshape who gets to work in America on an H-1B visa and who gets left behind. Whether you are an H-1B applicant, a current H-1B worker, or someone waiting years for a green card, this update directly affects you. Stay with us until the end, because we are going to break this down step by step in simple language so you know exactly where you stand. Welcome back to Global Immigration Scope, your trusted source for the latest immigration news, visa updates, and policy changes from around the world. I am your host, and today we are covering one of the most talked about proposed changes in the U.S. immigration system in recent years, the proposed shift to a wage-based H-1B lottery. This update is based on official announcements and proposals from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, known as USCIS, as well as published regulatory notices from the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS. We always rely on official government sources so that you get accurate, reliable, and actionable information. Let us get into it. For decades, the H-1B visa lottery has been a random process. Every year, about 780,000 people apply for only 85,000 available H-1B visa slots. Because demand is far greater than supply, USCIS runs a lottery, essentially a random draw, to decide who gets selected. But under a proposed regulatory rule change, this random selection system would be replaced, or significantly modified, by a wage-based ranking system. Under the proposed new system, applicants would be ranked and selected based on the salary level offered by the sponsoring employer. Applicants in the highest wage tier would be selected first, before moving down to lower wage tiers. The reasoning behind this proposal comes down to two main goals stated by U.S. authorities. First, to protect American workers. By prioritizing the highest-paid foreign workers, the government aims to ensure H-1B visas go to truly specialized, high-value roles rather than lower-wage positions that could displace American workers. Second, to attract top global talent. The policy is designed to prioritize the most highly skilled and highly compensated professionals in their fields. Critics argue, however, that this system could harm smaller companies, startups, and nonprofit organizations that do important work but cannot afford to pay the highest salaries. We will come back to that in our impact analysis. This is important to understand. The wage-based H-1B lottery is a proposed rule change. It has not yet been implemented as permanent policy. It has gone through periods of being proposed, challenged in court, and revised under different administrations. The most significant version of this rule was proposed and partially implemented during the Trump administration in 2020 and 2021. It was later blocked by federal courts and paused by the Biden administration. However, with ongoing interest in H-1B reform, this concept continues to resurface in policy discussions and could be formally implemented in future regulatory cycles. If enacted, USCIS would publish implementation guidance ahead of the H-1B registration period, which typically occurs in March each year. H-1B first-time applicants, especially those in lower wage tiers, employers who rely on H-1B workers across all industries, Indian and Chinese nationals, who make up the largest share of H-1B applicants, IT staffing companies and consulting firms that sponsor many H-1B workers, green card backlog applicants waiting in employment-based visa queues, EB-2, EB-3. To understand the wage-based lottery, you need to know about the Department of Labor's 4 wage levels. Every H-1B job offer must be assigned to one of these 4 tiers. Level 1. Entry-level positions. This is the lowest wage tier, typically for workers just starting out in an occupation. Level 2. Workers with more than entry-level experience, performing moderately complex tasks. Level 3. Experienced workers performing full range of duties in the occupation. Level 4. fully competent workers performing advanced, specialized, or supervisory duties. Under the proposed wage lottery rule, H-1B selections would prioritize in this order: Level 4 first, then Level 3, then Level 2, and finally Level 1. Only if spots remain after higher tiers are filled. Here is a simplified example. Imagine 780,000 people register for the H-1B lottery. USCIS would first collect all 85,000 slots needed, but instead of drawing randomly from the full pool, it would first fill as many slots as possible from level few wage applicants. If level fee does not fill all 85,000 slots, it moves to level 3 and so on. This means a level 1 or level 2 applicant, even if extremely qualified in human terms, may simply not be selected, because there were enough level 3 and level 4 applicants to fill all available slots. Employers would need to clearly designate the correct wage level for each job offer at the time of H-1B registration, not just at the petition stage. The 65,000 regular cap and 20,000 advanced degree exemption, master's cap slots could both be subject to wage-based selection. Misrepresentation of wage levels could result in denial and potentially bar an employer from future H-1B filings. Higher wages for foreign workers would benefit both immigrants and domestic labor markets by reducing wage suppression concerns. Senior engineers, specialist doctors, financial analysts, and other high-paying professionals would have a significantly improved chance of H-1B selection. Major tech companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta, which tend to offer high wages, could see better selection rates for their sponsored workers. Smaller businesses, startups, academic institutions, and nonprofits offering lower salaries could be virtually shut out of the H-1B program, as their workers may rarely reach Level 3 or IV thresholds. Workers in certain regions of the U.S. where cost of living, and therefore prevailing wages, are lower could be systematically disadvantaged compared to workers in cities like San Francisco or New York. Entry-level graduates, including those on OPT or STEM OPT who are hoping to transition to H-1B, would face significantly lower selection odds, potentially forcing many to leave the country. IT staffing and consulting firms, which often place workers at Level 1 or Level 2 wages, would see their entire business model threatened by this change. For those already in H-1B status and waiting for a green card, particularly those in the EB-2 and EB-3 categories from India, the impact is indirect but real. If the overall composition of the H-1B workforce shifts toward higher wage tiers, the profile of people entering the green card backlog will also change over time. Those already in the queue would not be directly displaced, but the policy would shape who joins them. Important: if you are already in H-1B status, this proposed change does not affect your current visa validity or pending green card applications. It primarily affects future H-1B registrations. Legal challenges are likely. If this rule is formally enacted, expect immediate lawsuits from employer associations, staffing companies, and immigration advocacy groups arguing that the rule exceeds USCIS's statutory authority. Congress may act. Comprehensive immigration reform has been discussed for years. A wage-based lottery could push lawmakers to finally revisit the H-1B cap itself, potentially increasing the number of available visas to reduce the pressure. Employer behavior may shift. If wage-based selection becomes permanent, expect employers to reclassify jobs to higher wage levels, either genuinely offering more competitive salaries or using accounting adjustments to meet thresholds. Alternative immigration pathways may become more attractive. Countries like Canada, Australia, Germany, and the UK are actively competing for the same global talent pool. If H-1B access becomes harder, skilled workers may redirect their immigration plans. Watch for the USCIS regulatory calendar. Any formal rulemaking must go through a notice and comment period under the Administrative Procedure Act. If a rule is published in the Federal Register, there will be a public comment window, and your voice and your employer's voice can matter. The bottom line is this: The H-1B program is under more scrutiny and undergoing more reform pressure than at any point in its history. Whether you are a worker, an employer, or an aspiring immigrant, staying informed is not optional. It is essential. The H-1B wage lottery is a proposed policy change that would replace the current random lottery with a wage-based ranking system. Applicants with higher salary offers, at DOL wage level 3 and I-FE, would be prioritized for H-1B selection. The rule has been proposed, legally challenged, and is subject to future regulatory action, meaning it could still be implemented. The change would benefit high-wage professionals, but could significantly harm smaller employers, startups, and entry-level foreign workers. Legal challenges, legislative responses, and employer strategy shifts are all likely if this rule is formalized. If this video helped you understand the H-1B wage lottery proposal, please give it a thumbs up. It truly helps us reach more people who need this information. If you have questions about how this change might affect your specific situation, drop them in the comments below. Our team reviews every single one. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because immigration laws change fast, and you do not want to be the last one to know. Thank you for watching Global Immigration Scope. Stay informed and subscribe for the latest immigration news and visa updates from around the world.